Epstein's butler of 18 years breaks silence. He said, "No way he killed himself." Right? That's what I've been saying over the years. I said it's one or two things. One, either someone killed him or he's really not dead. Epstein is off on another private island somewhere, and then they changed his face and stuff like that. He's basically under witness protection type of deal. What those are the two options. I don't for a second believe he actually killed himself, and most people don't. But we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna hear what the butler has to say about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from Zero Hedge, and they report that the longtime butler of Jeffrey Epstein is speaking out about the death of the deceased pedo and disgraced financier, joining the chorus of voices expressing disbelief that he committed unalivement. Valson Vera Cotrin, who oversaw Epstein's residence in Paris for 18 years, made the admission in an interview with The Telegraph. He said, quote, "I am like his brother, Mark Epstein. I don't believe this was unalivement. He loved life too much," Cotrin told the British newspaper. And I guess this is the butler right here. The Telegraph posted a photo of Jeffrey Epstein on his private jet in 2019. This photo may be one of the last taken of the financier. Shows him wearing an Israel Defense Force (IDF) sweatsuit. Oh, what are the odds of that? What are the odds of him wearing the IDF sweatshirt? Right. Cotrin described his final encounter with Epstein, painting a picture of a man who appeared far from unalivement. Epstein was relaxed in discussing future plans, including additional investments in his islands, having discreetly purchased a second property that Cotrin had visited, and spending more time in Paris. Quote, "I drove him to Le Bourget airport. It was a Saturday because on Monday he was supposed to appear before a judge regarding all these accusations," the longtime servant said. The gravity of the situation became clear shortly after Epstein's departure, according to Cotrin. Quote, "When I got home, two young women rang. His main girlfriend, who had been with him officially for several years, Karyina Sholik, I don't know what that name is, and another who worked for him. And then they told me, quote, Mr. Epstein has gone to prison. He arrived in New York. The police were waiting for him." Cotrin also claimed that he worked dozens of times at Epstein's properties in New York, Palm Beach, Florida, and on Little St. James, Epstein's private Caribbean island, dubbed by the media as Pedo Island, where he is said to have trapped and, done terrible things, often to underage victims. Quote, "He trusted me completely," said Cotrin, who has not worked since his boss' death 6 years ago, adding that he never saw Epstein commit any sex crimes. He said, "I was his chauffeur, his cook, his housekeeper. I did everything in Paris. I was his only full-time paid-up employee and worked for him from 2001 until his death. If someone could have seen something, it's Valson. There's no one else," he said. Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City on August 10th, 2019 at 6:30 a.m., hanging from his bed, if you believe that story. The shadowy investor was pronounced dead at New York Downtown Hospital at 6:39 a.m. The Department of Justice and the New York City Medical Examiner ruled his death a suicide by hanging. However, Mark Epstein, the brother of Jeffrey Epstein, has consistently rejected the government's conclusion and repeatedly stated that he does not believe his brother took his own life. He said, quote, I believe he was killed because I believe that a day after he died, and I heard on CNN that he was found dead from assumed, unalivement, Mark Epstein said. They came out of the autopsy and they both concurred that this looked more like a homicide than an unalivement. The autopsy findings have become a key source of dispute. Epstein's autopsy was performed by New York City's chief medical examiner, Dr. Barbara Sampson, and a pathologist hired by the Epstein family, Dr. Michael Baden. Here's a picture with good old Slick Willie, Bill Clinton, with the Butler here on the private jet. Man, how many pictures this guy got being on that plane, on those planes, man? Mark Epstein has pointed to specific forensic evidence that he believes contradicts the suicide ruling. He said, well, unalivement, I forgot, people be funny about that. But anyway, quote, one of the major things was the 3 broken bones in his neck. Now Dr. Baden has done about 500 autopsies. He's been doing this for over 50 years. And I've spoken to other pathologists, and they say, on a soft hanging, which is supposedly that Jeffrey Epstein was supposed to have done, you might get a broken bone, maybe 2, but no one's ever seen 3 broken bones in this kind of hanging, Mark Epstein said. Earlier July, the joint DOJ FBI memo declared an exhaustive review of evidence from Epstein's death definitively ruled out murder. I did tons of videos on that. The agencies also denied the existence of a client list tied to Epstein, directly contradicting earlier remarks by Attorney General Pam Bondi. Bondi had previously suggested on Fox News that such a list was sitting on my desk. We all remember that. We see that video for review, igniting speculation about Epstein's possible blackmailing of globalist elites. Trump has repeatedly sought to dismiss the scandal, accusing Democrats of fabricating a hoax around Epstein to thwart his agenda. Y'all know how I feel about this whole thing. Release all the information except for the victims' names. I think everything should come out pertaining to this. It's one or two things. Either this dude, someone unalived him, or he's not dead. He's somewhere in witness protection or something. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts. What do y'all think about this? Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.